Hey there, my name is James Tells, and I'm one of the librarians at Folsom Lake College, and the Screencast is here to help you with a particular assignment for this class. So let's look at the assignment first, and we are looking at the Historical Figure in Social Work research paper. Your instructor gives you a list of some very famous folks that would be involved in disciplines around your particular discipline. These aren't the only ones that you can choose from, but she just wanted to give you a sample of some of the folks there. But let's scroll down to where librarians are here to help you, and that's in finding your resources or your sources of information. We can see that heading here. So you're going to need to find and use and cite the sources that you use. You're going to need to have 5 of those sources. We're going to cite using APA style, and I'll show you how to do that. And we can use all kinds of different types of resources, from Wikipedia to movies, newspaper articles, academic journals, books, etc. So really wide open. So that's great. You're going to be able to find all those types of resources. But one parameter is that you do need to use at least 3 scholarly academic sources. So in that case, when you need to find those 3, you're really going to want to narrow your results down to academic journal articles and probably electronic books. And I'll show you how to do that today. You also will be able to, in the future, to dive into your research guide that we've created for this class. But today I'm going to walk you through doing some of those searches, and hopefully that will be helpful for you. So let's go over to the school's homepage, hover over the purple bar at the top of Folsom Lake College's homepage, and then we can see a drop-down menu under Student Resources, with Library being the first link there. So I'm going to click on Library. And that is going to take us to our library homepage. So there's 2 ways to go when it comes to using the resources that the library or the school district pays for you. We have about $250,000 worth of electronic materials. We have to pay that $250,000 every year as a district to continue our subscription to those subscription electronic databases. And there's 2 ways really from the library homepage to get at that really expensive and great material. You can either use the search box here, which is called the OneSearch search box. What that does is that plugs in whatever search terms that you put there, and it plugs them into almost all of our subscription research databases. It executes that search across all those databases and then gives you one set of results. That's why we call it OneSearch. So that's a way of casting a really wide net when you're doing your research. And that's what I am going to show you today, because I think we're going to, for our particular assignment, looking at folks in social work through history, we're going to see great material coming out of lots of different types of resources, lots of different types of databases, sociology databases, history databases, for example. I will show you briefly a second way of diving in, and that's to look at individual databases. Instead of doing a giant OneSearch here, you can click on Research Databases, the little purple button here below the search box. And then that will take you to a listing to all the databases that we subscribe to. Quite a bit, as you can see here. So this is another way if you wanted to go directly to some history databases or directly to a sociology database, you could do so through this page. You can do that quickly. You can do it slowly by scrolling down through each category, or you can do that really quickly. If I just scroll up here because my face is in the way there, you can see here, you can use the category guide on the left-hand side, a little menu here. So if we wanted to look at all the databases we have with history content inside them, you could click history. If you wanted to jump to sociology, you could click on sociology. So that's another way of going directly into really subject-specific databases. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close that, and I am going to use OneSearch today. And let's use Clara Barton as a sample search. I'm going to plug in my person's name that I'm interested in, and I'm going to use OneSearch. Again, that's the search box here. and that's going to plug in Clara Barton into most of our research databases. And fairly quickly, if I hit search right, we're going to get to some results from across our databases. Some are going to be a little old. So we look up at the top, we can see we have more than 11,500 results, quite a bit. Some of them are going to be old. We do link out, our databases can link out to open access material on the internet that isn't copyright protected. So we can see here's something from 1910, maybe a little too old for us. So I want to show you, scroll up a little bit here, and you're always going to have a nice menu of ways of filtering down, limiting down your results. So the first thing I want to do is I can see I have material here as old as 1900. Let's just say, why don't we look at material from 2000 to 2020. So that's the publication date. Sometimes students worry about the date of their person, and when they see a publication date limiter in our search systems, they think it has something to do with the date of the thing that they're studying or the person that they're studying. It doesn't. The publication date limiter is there to help you limit to when something was first published. So now by putting in 2000 in the from box and hitting apply, I'm going to drive out anything that was published before January 1st, 2000. So it's just the publication date of that book, that journal article, that video. So I'm going to apply that. That's going to eliminate some of that older material. And then what's also nice about our system is it will tell you right above the title, in this case, the title of a reference entry, which means it's from a reference book, probably an encyclopedia. So this would be an encyclopedia article. It looks like it's just 3 pages, so pretty short. You'd have to ask your professor if it's okay to use an encyclopedia article. Most instructors will tell you it's a great place to start to learn a little bit about your particular subject, but that it doesn't have enough in-depth analysis to use for your assignment. But you could run that by your professor if you felt like you did find some valuable information in that encyclopedia article. So I want to scroll down a little bit further again, down the filters here. And you've got quite a few ways to limit. You can, let me get rid of me here. I wonder if I can move myself. Yes, I can. I'll go over there for now. You can limit right away to scholarly journals. That's going to be a great source of information for your particular person. You can also use the resource type guide down here. Whoops. And it clicked on reference entries. I did not want to do that. My poor little laptop is not doing well these days. So let's scroll back down again. There we go. And what I do want to show you is under resource type, it's showing us some here, but we're not seeing all of them. So when you want to see all of your results that are over here listed in the categories that they belong in, you can hit show more. And then I'll scroll down a little bit more and you can see, wow, we didn't see this in that initial page. We just saw the top, I think 5 or 6, but now I can see, wow, I've got 103 ebooks. We've turned off our print books because we can't get to the library. So when you see books, that means those books are going to all be electronic and available to you 24/7. So we've got 103 ebooks. I see I've got 5 videos. So we've got a lot more choices there than we saw in that first listing. So I tell students, click on show more, especially when you've got a professor like yours that's allowing you to use a lot of really a wide range of resources. So for example, let's just limit to those 103 ebooks. And if you haven't done a lot of book research before for your professors, know that your professors are not expecting you when you grab some books to use, expecting you to read the books in their entirety. Usually you're going to pick out those chapters that are really touching on your focus, maybe you're filling in some gaps on your particular person in this case, and you find a chapter or two that really help you with that. So it's not as if when you're picking 2 or 3 books that you're going to be reading 1,000 pages on your person. You can do that if you have the time and you're that interested in the person, but again, don't shy away from books when thinking that you have to read the entire book. So we've got several books here that have her in the title. So for example, this one here, and we want to open our electronic resources, which are everything we're using right now, by hitting available online. So let's jump into that ebook by hitting available online. We're going to get a new tab open up, and because we are off campus, we have to enter our credentials. So whenever you do your initial search and you want to dive into something for that search session, you're going to be prompted for your username, that's your W number, and your Los Rios password. So if I remember mine correctly, we'll get in there. So just remember you need those two things to access the material from off campus. And slowly but surely, that will load. Almost there. Okay, and in this case, I am seeing that this is not full text. Let's search within this publication. So this is great. This is showing us, no, that's not going to work for us. So let's get rid of that. All right, let's choose a different book here. So for example, let's look at History of Professional Nursing in the United States towards a culture of health. Clara Barton is a leading figure in early healthcare in the United States. So I imagine a book with that title, looking at that history, if we look in the index, we're going to see quite a bit touching on Clara. Sorry, things are moving so slowly today with my computer. There we go. So what I'm going to do now, I've opened up this ebook, and I'm going to go ahead and just scroll down. You could look through the chapters, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to look in the index and go right to Barton. So let's go here and scroll down a little. Great. So this is a really good method when you're using ebooks. It's the same thing as if you've got a print book in hand that's really cutting across maybe a topic that your person fits in. So this is looking at nursing in the United States. We know Clara Barton's going to be somewhere in there. So jumping to the index allows us to see exactly where. So importantly, what I like to see is consecutive pages in the index on that person that discusses that person. So this is great. Here we have 6 pages on Clara Barton. That's fairly substantial. We also see that it says, see also American Red Cross, and it also talks about specifics here, the Galveston hurricane and the Spanish-American War under Clara Barton. So we'll talk about her role in those two events. So a decent amount of material in this book on Clara Barton. So I would say I would dive into page 99 or maybe even look at 36 and 40 and read and see if I'm finding useful information. And in 6 pages, I would hope you'd find some analysis there that could be helpful for your assignment. So when we're looking at ebooks from this particular provider, this company is called EBSCO. Their ebooks, when you open them up and look at them, they're going to provide us across the top of the page with a toolbar. Some databases are going to have a toolbar on the right-hand side, left-hand side, on the top. In this case, it's up top. And probably the most important, everything's pretty self-explanatory here, saving, emailing, printing, but the most important one is probably Cite. So remember, we're using APA style for Professor Bradshaw. So I'm going to click Cite. We'll get a little drop down here. Whoop. Try that again. My laptop is ready to be replaced, I'm sad to say. There we go. Takes about 3 clicks to make things happen now. So I'm going to scroll down to APA. So what you're going to get is a little pop-up at the top of the screen above your ebook. It will give you multiple styles to use. And let's get me out of here again. Oh, didn't want to do that. There we go. And let's scroll down to APA. So when we're grabbing our reference, that's what we call a citation in the APA style. We're going to grab it from the name of the author to the period at the end of that APA citation, and we're ready to paste that then into our references page. Do remember, you don't want to grab where it says APA or where it says references. You just want to grab it from the author's name to the period, and then paste that into your references document. So let's get out of there. We can close that with that X. We can close this particular tab. And let's change things up a little bit. Anytime I use my filters over here, it shows me my active filters at the top. So I am going to get out of our ebooks for now. That's going to now take me out just to our material that we limited from 2000 to 2020. And we could scroll down and look for journals down in our publication types down below. But instead, we can jump right to scholarly journals right here because we know many of our students across the disciplines are using scholarly journals every day. So I'm going to go ahead and just use that limiter right here and apply that filter. So I can see we've got some book reviews here. When you see the term review in the title, that's a book review, so we don't really want to look at that. It may lead you to a particular book, so yeah, we may want to look back into searching across our books or do a title search in the search box for the American Red Cross from Clara Barton to the New Deal. So here we can look from the journal Environment and History, Race, Class, and Gender Disparities in Clara Barton's late 19th century disaster relief. Let's open that one up, and maybe that one will be from one of our databases. There we go. Yeah, from JSTOR. Yeah, and another problem there. But the cool thing about this, I do want to show you something really important. So this is good that this occurred. One search doesn't work perfectly with all of our databases. Some databases it doesn't work at all with. So occasionally you're going to run across, when you click on something, you think you're going to open up the article and you get some type of error. So this is telling me that this article should be in JSTOR. We subscribe to some large packages from JSTOR, that database provider. So what I want to do is bounce back, and I'm going to get that title. I'm going to click on the title. Yeah, it should be in JSTOR. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that title and just do that search in JSTOR itself. So this is a good example. So I'm going to copy that. Now let's go to Folsom Lake College. Get into the library again. But now we want to go to a particular database, JSTOR. So we're going to go to the Research Databases page by clicking this link here. And JSTOR, because it actually covers most of the disciplines that we teach, is in our big general category right at the top of the page. So we don't need to use the category guide over here. We can just go straight into JSTOR. So again, when you need an individual database, you go into the Research Databases page and find the database there. We're going to enter JSTOR. I'm going to paste that title in there and search for it. Voila. So in JSTOR, I've got a slightly different layout. If you click on the title in JSTOR, you're going to get a page-by-page version PDF that you have to click through to go to each page. If you prefer to read a scrollable copy that you can just scroll through, let's get me out of here again. You hit download PDF here. I'll show you that in just a sec, but I do want to show you, you cite right from your result page. So in most databases, you cite when you're looking at your article or your ebook or your video, but in JSTOR, you're going to cite from your result page. I'm going to hit that. MLA is the top one. Don't select that. You want APA. So I hit copy, and then I'd be ready to paste that into my references page. So that's the citation option. Again, on your result page, not when you're looking at the document. I'm going to click on download PDF to get that scrollable version. It asks you to accept the terms. Of course, we never read what we're accepting, so there we are. And in JSTOR, when you accept those terms in that pop-up, you're going to then have a new tab open up with your article. So we got a pretty substantial article here, 107 from page 107 to page 131. So pretty lengthy. First page is always going to be a bit of a cover sheet there with publishing information, and page 2 will be where the actual article starts. And in this case, we have an abstract or summary of the article before it begins. And then the third page in this case is where it is going to open up and begin here. So that is a JSTOR article, a 26-pager here, and that's counting the cover page, but nice lengthy journal article. JSTOR is a great place to go for history. There is some sociology journals there too. So you could definitely start with one search and try your person there. But you could actually then also go into the research databases page, select JSTOR, and plug your person in. So I'm going to actually, why not, do that for you here. Let's grab our friend Jane Addams, copy that, bounce back to JSTOR, and let's do our advanced search again so we can see what you see when you come in. And I do want to show you a technique that's super important. We did not do that a second ago, and I should have. And that's scroll down a little bit, and you see narrow results. We don't want a bunch of little mini book reviews, which JSTOR is very famous for having. They're not even a paragraph long, so no instructor is going to let you use those JSTOR mini book reviews. So what you want to do in JSTOR, if you're using it directly, always click on articles. That's what I want, and that will eliminate any of those reviews from sneaking into my results. Then I'll hit my submit advanced search on Jane Addams, and you'll get an idea of how big this database is. So quite a bit of material here. We've got over 4,200 results. Some of them are, I can see here something in German. Jane Addams is quite famous, so that's why we're seeing so much material here. So if you wanted something very specific, so if you wanted to say, look at the settlement house, we can do Jane Addams, and you don't have to put it in here. You can put it all in the settlement house. She's one of the things she's famous for, the settlement house movement. And I'll hit submit there. And we're down to 2,500, and that's going to be a little bit more of a focus then on specifically settlement house movement. So JSTOR I think is a great option. I'm glad we actually had that trouble in one search with that JSTOR article to bring us over here and force me to show you JSTOR. So I'm hoping that those two routes from one search, from an individual database, again, remember you can use that category guide and jump down to the history databases, jump down to the sociology databases, and then enter one of those and do your searches there. That's another option for you. And really importantly, we want you to know that you've got help from us all the time. If you click on Ask a Librarian here, the little purple icon, we are going to have a little pop-up. And of course, I'm in the way again, and it's not moving. So I'll just stay there. So what this does is it gives you instantaneous link to a librarian, to have a chat with a librarian. It's a chat interface. So when you hit Ask a Librarian, Monday through Friday, 8 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, and Fridays, 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock at night, you'll be working with Folsom Lake College librarians that know, if not knowing your assignment, I know it because I'm doing this for your professor and for you, they will know all the resources that are available in our library that would fit that particular assignment. In your case, they would know where to look for your particular historical figure in social work. So if you do want to work with a local librarian, remember 8 to 8 Monday through Thursday, you can chat with them, or 8 to 5 on Friday. All other times, so into the evening, all night long, over the weekend, when you hit Ask a Librarian, you'll be chatting with a librarian that's part of our global chat system. So it could be a librarian in England, New Zealand, New York, Canada. So from just about anywhere that's part of our system in the English-speaking world. Know that you can get help anytime, that 24/7 part. They won't know all of our resources by heart because they don't live in this Folsom Lake College or Los Rios library system environment, but we do supply them with the password, username and password, so they can kind of guest into our material and can help you with searches. So that is our 24/7 chat system. I'm going to get out of there. Another thing that you can do if you want to work with an individual librarian, not for a quick chat, but with a more substantial Zoom session where we can share screens, we can see each other if we want to, and we can be together for a longer period of time than a chat, is you can do a research appointment. So let's see if I can get myself to move. There I go. And you just hit the research link here. You can scroll down to research appointments here in the limiter menu, or you could scroll down the side here and look through the page. But quickest way is probably hit research appointments here. And what that is going to do is eventually open up a little form. And sorry, I keep putting myself in the way. So this form, you fill it out, your name, your email. Obviously, we're going to meet online. This form is made for when we're live and online. So just hit online here. And then you're going to give us some preferred dates and times. We're not going to be able to get to you instantaneously usually, so I wouldn't say, you know, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon today, and you say 2:01 is when you'd like to meet with us. You want to give a little bit of time for us to receive the form and to assign a librarian to that appointment. So give us a date and a time, two possible times to meet, days and times. And really helpful if you tell us what class and professor it's for, and any description of what you're trying to do, what the assignment is, what your topic is. And then at the bottom, you'll hit make an appointment. So that is how you can work with us via that chat and via making an appointment. That's a 30-minute appointment. And if we don't have another appointment stacked up, we can obviously stay chatting for longer than a half an hour if we need to. I hope that everything I showed you today will be helpful. Please do contact us if you need any help. We're here to get you to the resources. So enjoy this assignment. It should be a fun one. You're going to learn a lot about the history of social work, and learning about history is really important. So enjoy. Bye-bye.